Hey there, XR here. Got the urge to make some videos again, so I figured the good choice would be Subnautica, as you can see, which is a game. It is early access, but it's been in early access for a long time. It's very polished at this point and has a lot of content. So it's a survival game, sci-fi, where you crash on a ocean planet, and it is only single player. There is no multiplayer in the game, and they have stated that they do not intend for there to be multiplayer in the game. So it's about being isolated on this ocean planet after your mining ship crashes and needing to survive. So let's start a new game. We're going to do survival, which is like the basic difficulty. You could also technically do freedom, which is where you don't have to worry about hunger and thirst, or hardcore, which is survival, except if you die, the game's over, or creative, which is where there's no resources to worry about at all. But we're going to do survival, which is the basic way, the intended difficulty, so to speak. This loading screen may take a minute, but that's our ship there, the Aurora, as it is crashing towards this planet. They never tell you what causes your ship to crash, just some kind of unnamed malfunction. It's a pretty neat game, though. It is very visually striking, I guess you could say. The Aurora, that's the name of our ship. The one that is currently crashing. So we're going to land in a life pod. We're going to have to scavenge for materials in order to start setting up a base and producing our own food and water in a more reliable sense. And there's fragments of your ship that scatter all around the ocean, and a large part of the game is hunting down those fragments and scanning them with your scanner in order to unlock blueprints for more advanced technology, including vehicles and stuff, which the map is quite large, so having those vehicles definitely helps. They also help because you have a limited amount of oxygen, to stay underwater, and the vehicles greatly increase your ability to go deep and not drown by running out of oxygen. This initial loading screen does take a while. There we go.
Attention. Hull failure imminent. All personnel abandon ship. Launch in 3, 2, 1.
Ow. And our little escape pod's on fire, which is not going to do as much good. So let's grab a fire extinguisher, put out this fire. Hurry up! Get with the fire. There we go. Alright.
Greetings, survivor. Great job not dying. To assist you in further survival in emergency situations, you have been issued this personal data assistant. The interface visible now will organize your inventory, display currently available construction blueprints, and holds other valuable information. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with it.
Alright then. So I don't need this fire extinguisher. They always give you some items in this storage to start off. So we're going to stick that in there. We've got a couple flares, a couple things of water, and a couple food blocks. which is helpful. This is our fabricator, which is what we're going to use to create all the stuff that we know how to create. We don't have any resources right now. So, oh, but we do have this, which is a med kit. So here we are. Environment. Uncharted ocean planet. Oxygen atmosphere. So there's our crashed ship. If we go too close to that, we're going to start getting hit by radiation coming off the crashed ship. So we kind of want to stay away. So let's do a little exploring, start picking stuff up.
New creature discovered.
Grab some fish. Which is...
Attention. Detecting increased local radiation levels. Trend is consistent with ongoing degradation of the Aurora's dark matter drive core due to damage sustained during collision. Continuing to monitor. New creature discovered.
So you can see over on the left there, I've got my oxygen, which is how long I can stay underwater before I need to go back to the surface, which is currently at 45 seconds, which is not terribly long. I've got my hunger and my food, and water. I pick up some of this stuff. Titanium wreckage, metal, quartz. Yeah, I'm down to 15 seconds of air. One of the first things I'm going to want to do is...
Emergency. 10 seconds of oxygen remaining.
Is build a tank, an air tank, so I can stay underwater longer. Here's some limestone we can break. That gives me titanium. What I'm really looking for, because these metal scraps that I'm picking up, I can turn into titanium. They turn into 4 titanium each. That's the most efficient way to get titanium, especially because those are all over the place since our ship exploded. What I'm going to want from those little nodules of limestone is actually copper, because that's the only place copper comes from, and you need copper to make batteries and basically all other kinds of power. Here's a fragment, solar panel fragment. I don't have the scanner yet though, so that should be one of the first things I try to build as well. Picking up all this quartz. There's another fragment down here. That's a sea glide fragment. I'm gonna want the sea glide too pretty soon. That's like the it's like a little drag behind scooter thing that makes you go faster in the water. Also has a built-in flashlight, which is good for going in dark places. So let's go back in our pod here. We are hungry, so I'm gonna cook up some of these fish we caught. Now, the fish don't spoil when they're alive, but when they're dead, they do begin to spoil, and eventually will go rotten. So if you don't need to eat them right away, it kind of makes sense to carry them around as live fish for a while. The air sacs, which are the other ones that I picked up just there, these kind of purpley ones, they also make water. You can filter water through them to get more filtered water. So I just turned all that scrap into titanium, so I've got a bunch of titanium and quartz now. What do I need to make the scanner? I need a battery, so I'm going to need copper for that. I also want to get the fins pretty soon, which requires silicone rubber, which requires creep vine. I'm going to stick a bunch of this stuff in my storage here so that I don't run out of... Oh wait, I can build a tank though, right? Can I? Or does it take... Tank. I need glass, but I can make glass to make that out of 2 quartz. So I'll take 2 quartz titanium, make first the glass, and then... Oh, it's titanium times 2. Make the O2 tank. So you can see that takes up 4 squares in my inventory, but it makes my available oxygen 75 instead of 45, which is a decent increase. So I need copper to make a battery. And I'm also going to want to find the next biome. The actual like landforms.
Continued degradation of the
Lady talk.
Aurora's dry core may cause a quantum detonation. Calculating risk assessment. Death by malnourishment, 7%. By physical injury, 11%. By exposure to radioactive crash site materials, 19%. If the drive core is breached, probability of death increases to 65%.
So the ship is continuing to fall apart. What I was saying was I need to find this. The actual landforms here are somewhat random, but the location of the biomes in relation to each other is pretty set every time you play. So there's always this kelp forest here is always next to your starting biome, which is good because I need these big like kelp things are called creepvine, and I need creepvine seed clusters to make silicone rubber, which is what I need to make the swim fins, which make you swim faster. So I'm just going to come and grab a couple of these. I need 2 of them. And we're going to head back, because those are pretty big. They actually take up a decent amount of inventory space. But I also still need copper. Luckily they give you this nice little beacon here to show you the way back to your pod. And you can construct beacons like that as well. So when we eventually build a base separate from our little escape pod there, we're going to want to build a beacon and put it right over the base so that we can find our way back to the base without having to worry about actually remembering how to get there, because, you know, it's an ocean world. Sometimes, especially at the surface, everything looks the same. It's getting dark.
New creature discovered. New creature discovered.
Alright, so we're gonna make silicone rubber. Oh, I'm stupid. It takes 2 of those, doesn't it? So I'm gonna have to go back. Yeah, and get 2 more. It's alright. Still need copper anyway. Now it is dark. You can come up and see this giant scary moon. There it is. That looks way too close. That's the ship. I do not want to swim towards the ship. I want to swim away from the ship. Also, I've been doing a bad job of remembering it myself, but if you're holding something in your hand, like if I'm swimming around like this, that actually slows down your swimming. So you want to swim around with your hands empty most of the time. Like when you have tools and stuff, when you're not actually using them, you want to tap the hotkey again to put them away, because it increases your swim speed, not dramatically, but enough, and that, you know, a little bit, and that can make a difference. Can make a difference. I don't have a flashlight or anything either, but luckily a lot of stuff glows in this game, including the creepvine seed clusters. Just over there. The kelp forest is also the home of the first type of predator you have to deal with, which is the slashers, I think they're called. They're those big long things. You may have seen one swimming around below me earlier. Oh crap, there's one right there chasing me. Leave me alone. There's 2 of them there. Alright, I think I got what I needed though, right? Yeah, alright, let's get out of here. They only really attack if you get close to them. The other thing to note about this game is that there are no weapons.
Radiation readings exhibit characteristics consistent with total degradation of the Aurora's dark matter drive core. A quantum detonation will occur with a probability of 85.5%. Advise observing a 1 kilometer safety range.
As I was saying, there's no weapons in this game. You're kind of supposed to be at the mercy of the sea creatures. So you can build some defensive things, like there's what's called a propulsion cannon, which pushes things away from you, and there's also a shock cannon, which stuns fish. But there's nothing you can use to actually kill fish. So all the stuff that can kill you, you're kind of at its mercy, and just need to learn how to avoid it, basically. Okay. So we're going to make some silicone rubber here and then build our swim fins. And we'll automatically equip those for us. I'm also going to filter some more water with these air sacs, since I've been grabbing them as we're swimming around. You do consume water faster than food, so it always is handy to have more water around than food. You do consume it faster. Turn these titanium metal things I got into titanium. I'm going to make glass too. I think I'm going to make a second tank. I usually like to carry around 2 at this stage of the game so I can stay underwater a little bit longer. So it does reduce my inventory space, but it lets me stay underwater quite a bit longer, which is definitely useful. This storage does not last super long either. You know, it just fills up really quick. But another medkit has appeared. That thing on the wall is actually called a medkit fabricator, and a medkit will just appear in it every once in a while. Alright, I really need to find copper now, because that's really the thing that's limiting me. So I need a battery. And with these fins equipped, you can see down here, I am swimming a bit faster. And I have 105 seconds of oxygen now to stay underwater. I need to find, there's usually a big, one of these coral tubes that's really giant and has a bunch of, it's just a weird graphics glitch. It has a bunch of those limestone nodules in it. It's getting late again. The daytime is much longer than the nighttime. Shoot.
Readings suggest a quantum
Ship's gonna blow up.
has occurred in the Aurora's drive core. The central dark matter reactor will reach a supercritical state in T-minus 10 creature dis 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thanks. Radiation. So now that that's happened, the zone of radiation around the ship has gotten much larger. So any swimming we do in that direction, we're going to encounter the radiation fairly quickly. And there's a lot of good stuff over there near the crash site. So in order to explore over there, we're going to have to eventually build the radiation suit, which will protect us from the radiation. At this point in the game, if you swim without protection into the radiation zone, ooh, those are bad. Those are bad. Ow. However, they do, if you trigger them and then go raid their little hole, they have blast powder in there. Crash powder, rather, sorry, which you can use to build some stuff. Anyway, as I was saying, if you go over there, here's some copper. In the radiation zone right now, it just drains your health. Like every tick, every couple of seconds, you lose a percentage of your health until you die. So obviously that's no good. Here's the big tube I was talking about. So let's grab as much copper as we can get. But once you have the radiation suit, it protects you from that. So you can then safely explore in the irradiated zone around the crash ship. And in fact, you can go into the crash, the Aurora itself. Not all the way in, like it's not like there's an extensive amount of stuff in there, but you can, there are parts of it you can actually access and they have stuff in them. You need these acid mushrooms to make batteries as well. The recipe for a battery is 2 acid mushrooms and a piece of copper ore. Some more copper there. Titanium. copper. And there's some of those big mean fish, which we are going to go back the other direction. You actually need those guys. They have kind of interesting behavior. The metal wreckage that's laying around on the ground from the ship explosion, they'll pick it up and like play with it. They'll carry it around in their mouth and knock it around. And when they do that, it causes some of their teeth to fall out. Stalkers, that's what they're called, because the teeth that they lose that then fall on the ground are called stalker fangs, and you need those to make enameled glass. I guess you take the tooth enamel off them or whatever. So to make enameled glass, which you need to make reinforced glass for like your deep sea bases, you need glass and stalker teeth. Alright. Since there's another medkit there, I'm going to use that one. Pick that one up. So, can now make a battery. Which, hopefully then, can I make the scanner? I can. So we're going to put that in slot 1. Also, while I'm here, I'm going to cook up another one of these peepers that I caught. Stow some of this stuff. Stow the crash powder. Titanium. My storage is now full. I can reduce the storage by actually making some of the stuff. Like I'm going to make all the... I'm going to need copper wire at some point. I don't remember what I need it for. Possibly the Sea Glide, but I want to have at least one. I'm going to turn the rest of this stuff into batteries because that's really all I'm going to use it for at this point, and I'm going to need a whole bunch of batteries. So for when I make the Sea Glide. Speaking of which, that's not bad. Let's go find some Sea Glide fragments so we can get that going. So you got the scanner here, and you can scan basically everything, including, you know, all the types of sea life and everything. And what that does is once you scan it, it adds it to your encyclopedia, which is over here, and you can read about them if you are so inclined. So now that we have the scanner, we're going to want to be keeping an eye out for those fragments, which for the small stuff look like so I'm going to drink another thing of water. Look like those little boxes like this. Larger pieces actually look like things. So this is a solar panel, which is the first way you get to power a base once you build a base. So it's 50% I have on the solar panel technology now. I need one more of those before I'm able to actually unlock the blueprint for solar panels. Obviously the Sea Glide is what I'm really looking for here, and I saw one before. I could not tell you at this point where it was. Scan the rabbit ray. Ooh, hold still. There we go. You can't actually capture rabbit rays. They're too big, I guess. The way the fragments work is certain technologies will always appear in certain... Scan the limestone chunk? Will always appear in certain biomes, basically. So the Sea Glide and the solar panel will always appear in this initial biome, which is called Safe Reef. There are a couple different technologies that will show up in the kelp forest, including the bioreactor, which is another way to get power. And I don't remember what the other one is that shows up in there offhand. But basically you need to keep going into more and more dangerous biomes in order to get the more and more advanced technology, which is how they encourage you to explore if you needed encouragement other than just the fun of doing it. There's a fragment over there, but I'm going to keep breaking these for the moment because I want to build up my build up my copper stocks. Let's see what we got here. It's another solar panel fragment, so this will unlock the solar panel. These are creature eggs, which you can actually hatch, I believe, if you have an aquarium. You put them in there and they will hatch at some point. I'm unwittingly going closer to the Aurora, which isn't good, so I need to keep an eye on the top of my screen here, right under my depth meter. It'll say radiation detected. If I get too close, then I'm in the dangerous zone. I think the safe reef is always safe, though. There's another kelp forest over there on the right, as you can see. And I think once I stray over that far, I'm going to be pushing my luck as far as the radiation goes. This goes down to the red grass zone, I believe, which I also need. The blueprints for the first submarine, called the Seamoth, appear in the red grass zone. And I think there's more than one red grass zone, but I know that there's one pretty close to the ship, which, you know, obviously is dangerous too. I'm not going to pick up titanium because my storage is almost full and I have a lot of titanium already. Although I can make some room, as I mentioned. I can combine titanium into titanium ingots, which I will need. There's a fragment, which I will need. It takes 10 titanium to make a titanium ingot, and I will need those. That's another solar panel fragment. You can scan the fragments for things you've already completed. It will just turn into 2 titanium when it finishes scanning. What's this? Another solar panel fragment. Sea glide fragments are the rarer ones. They're more desirable, so I guess that kind of makes sense. I'm going. This looks like it's good to kelp forest over here. Yeah. I will need to mine some of these chunks that do appear in the sandstone, or the kelp forest rather, at some point, because I need. There's a fragment. I'm gonna need silver ore. There's a sea glide fragment. 50%. Need one more. I'm gonna need silver ore to make microchips, and silver ore comes from sandstone chunks rather than limestone chunks. And the first zone that they spawn in is the kelp forest. They also spawn in higher tier zones. Later, you can also get other things from other types of rock. You can get like gold, diamond, uranium. You can actually build a nuclear generator for your base at one point. There's a fragment. What do we got here? Solar panel. I'm just kind of swimming around randomly, which makes it hard to tell if maybe I should be scanning these just to get rid of them. Oh, sea glide. There we go. So now we can build the sea glide. We've unlocked the blueprint. So let's go back and see what that takes exactly. That will greatly increase our mobility and our ability to get around. Pick these up to build some more batteries, since I've been picking up copper. Alright, let's take a look here. So, I believe it's under deployable, yeah. So all I have everything I need other than lubricant. Turn this stuff into batteries. I do have enough inventory space. So lubricant also comes from the kelp forest. Is also made from the Croup-Vine seed clusters, but you need 3 of them to make a lubricant. So let me go grab those. It's a very pretty game, and it gets more so. Like when you get into some of the more advanced biomes, they're really cool looking. Stay up high so I don't accidentally drown, and also to avoid Stalkers, they tend to stay a little bit deeper usually. Seed clusters? Seed clusters? There's some. Alright, that'll do us. So now let us head back to the pod, and just about at half an hour here, so I will produce the Sea Glide, and that will be a good place to end this episode, I think. That will give us the ability to explore much further afield. Although then we will start. The Sea Glide does eat up batteries pretty quickly, so the next thing we should probably do is start constructing a building tool so we can start building a base, our initial base, which we'll probably build kind of on the edge of the kelp forest and this safe reef zone. A lot of the materials you need early on are in those two zones, so for the ease of collecting materials, that makes the most sense. Okay. So we will now make, god damn it, there we go, lubricant from the 3 creepvine seed clusters, and then we can make, so they're deployable, excuse me, Sea Glide. Which takes up a huge chunk of your inventory, but what are you going to do? I'm going to put that on 5. My hotbar. So then, you can do this. Whee! Makes you go much faster, has a built-in light, and shows a topographic little map for any there. But you can see the energy right above my hotbar there, going down pretty quick. And when that runs out, you need to build another, stick another battery in. So, I've got a whole bunch of batteries. 4 right now, which will be good to start us off. So, I'm going to save the game. Save. And then I'm going to end this episode. So tune in next time. We will continue with Subnautica. Thanks for watching.